Hello, Mike.
Hi, Alex.
It's time. It's that time again. Zelda is in the air. Everyone's excited.
Trailers, video game trailers
Vid-
came out.
Video game trailers happened. People are hotly anticipating the Nintendo Switch. That's what we're looking at.
It's a console. People like that thing.
People seem to like it.
So I heard.
Would you call the announcement of the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild the biggest announcement of E3 2019?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of like an entirely new thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of cool stuff announced, but it was a lot of like known cases where I'd think this is obviously something that was going to happen, like a new Zelda game. Like holy crap, surprise! But like I think it was more so that like we're seeing this like now.
Yeah.
Like I did not expect it to see this trailer for this game, like not this year, maybe even not. Like if you would have asked me before the direct, I don't even think I would have been like maybe next year we'll see it. I probably would have said no then too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool. Even with the minute we got, there's a lot to
unpack here.
And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break down this trailer, so to speak.
Yeah, if you watched Logan and I sat down and broke down the Last of Us demo from last year, this will be pretty similar. Hopefully a little bit shorter since it is a much shorter trailer. But there's a lot to talk about here. Yeah, I would say that this was anticipated. I meant to like frame forward. I accidentally moved the image around in OBS, which was not what I meant. I would say this was anticipated. I think the thing that surprised me the most was what it turned out to be, like what the game itself is, versus the fact that it happened now. Because, like, you know, my final bet, my like big out there hopeful prediction for our E3 podcast was announcing the sequel to Breath of the Wild, it having like the option for a female protagonist, and it coming out early next year. One of those is pretty good, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there's some stuff there that can definitely be resumed. So I think what we just saw there was like I definitely think that's some kind of like Sheikah writing or some kind of ancient writing,
some kind of magic, you know?
Yeah, and even what we see right here, like this has to be like some kind of big seal.
Yeah, definitely you get the vibe of a seal, and I have a lot of ideas as to what some of the imagery in this trailer would be. I do want to comment real quick on the sound, like the music that plays here is very cool.
It's like very trippy.
It's very much like obviously something in reverse, but I don't know.
It's like it's a thing where I feel like a lot of people were pulling off Twilight Princess, but like even in like Breath of the Wild standard there, like when you were like in the shrines and in the stuff, and it was kind of like that weird kind of like ancient but future tech. Like,
yeah, very futury.
Yeah, I still kind of got that vibe here with a lot of this stuff.
And like there's like an echoiness to it, like which tends to, I think it's there because it complements how big and open a lot of parts of Breath of the Wild are.
Yeah.
So it sounds echoey as a part of that. So we got a lot to talk about, and I think we'll go frame by frame. I do want to kind of bring up the one first thing that I noticed. I feel like this looks, and it's possible just because this is very much probably not the final game running, but a vertical slice or just a in-engine trailer made. But I feel like everything looks a little bit better than it did in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, there's definitely like it feels like there's a what it seems like is it's just like a lot more lighting going on. Like you can see like a lot more just like depth, and like right here on this shot of like on Zelda's clothes and like Link's hair and stuff. I feel like there's just like a lot more lighting going on, and I think it helps that like that you're going off of characters and probably like this is probably some kind of like cutscene. This I could totally see this being like
the third cutscene or maybe the second.
Yeah,
very close to the opening, but not quite the opening.
Yeah, basically like somewhat the opening of this game.
Yeah,
and even this character like here,
very detailed.
I'm sure we'll get into who we think this is, thinking what this is, but
yeah,
like a lot of detail, a lot of like flashy stuff. So I
A
think
lot of
it's
particle
pretty
effects.
a lot of particle effects. There's just like there's a whole lot of stuff going on.
A lot of hands. There's a lot of hands in this
Yeah,
demo.
hands grabbing, hands happening.
I don't remember this shot at all, actually.
Yeah, so I think going with like now that we're like doing this frame by frame,
Mm-hmm.
like now it's a lot of this stuff. I think going with like the music being out of order. I think the events that are also happening in this trailer are out of order.
Very much, yeah. They could be in reverse, like the music.
I don't. Yeah, like I think like some of the like the music is obviously in reverse, and I think uh some things that we've really like seeing like happen in different orders.
Yeah, like this shot where Zelda falls, I think very much leads into the shot where their hands grab. You know.
Yeah. And like the scene earlier where you see like the darkness like shooting up from where like the hand was keeping it down,
Yeah.
and then there's the scene earlier where you see the mouse being consumed by that darkness. I think that happens.
Yeah.
Like that happens. Like the mouse being consumed happens after that, and that's like that whole like weird darkness stuff taking over.
Yeah, and I like here too, and we'll kind of get into some of the more. We're gonna go back through. Don't worry, everybody. We're just kind of going through, pointing out some general stuff. We see Zelda alone a lot when we see this kind of creature wake up, and that could very well be after Link presumably has removed the arm that was on him, whatever's left of that seal. And then I mean the end of this is like there's obviously a lot going on here, but it's really hard to know what the heck's going on.
Yeah. You basically just see like, yep, that's the Great Plateau, and like pretty much the most iconic scenes.
Yeah, it almost I would say we are probably looking at that castle from the cliff face that you walk out onto the Great Plateau for the first time. I would bet that is exactly where we are standing.
Yeah, pretty close to it.
Which is really cool if you think about it.
Yeah,
the kind of the first spot in Breath of the Wild. I like also.
Clearly.
On the left here, the mountain with the hole cut out of it. I believe that happens in Breath of the Wild at some point. Maybe it doesn't.
No, I think that was already there.
Maybe
in Breath of the Wild. I think because I think I remember that, like vividly remember trying to climb that mountain because it was massive, and remember seeing that big thing. So clearly, this is the whole of Hyrule Castle being lifted.
Yeah, and you can see like the edges of the platform that it's on, kind of sticking out. So like you can see that. I don't think this is like a cylinder of earth coming upward. It seems like it is very much just the castle lifting up. No clue what's going on here. I like too that I didn't notice this, and it helps that we're just going through frame by frame. Like the castle starts to shake, we see it shake, but it takes like a full couple of seconds before the camera starts to shake from the position it's in.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
It has that effect. It's a pretty nice effect. I could totally see this being like the darkness we see kind of like sprouting out and like kind of growing as it comes out. I could totally be seeing a thing where like that's what's pushing it up.
Yeah, or taking it.
But again, it's so far away. It's like hard to say for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely this last shot is there to make us think like what could possibly happen next.
Yeah,
there's been enough sky temples in Zelda games to know. Oh, okay, good. I got just a text message on my screen. I'm like, oh, I hope this didn't pop up in the recording. It didn't, luckily. But I've seen enough like Zelda games with sky temples to know that maybe this is, or obviously like the Skyloft being literally a part of Hyrule that got lifted up thousands of years before Skyward Sword.
And, like, I even see kind of right now that we're like looking at this, and maybe it's just I'm staring at it and kind of seeing a thing out of a thing that's not really there, but I can almost see like legs, like
there's certainly a shape underneath the castle. I was going to point that out too. This you can't see my mouse, but like right on the left side or the right side, looking at it, like down right under the castle in the smoke, kind of curling out to the right, kind of looks like a leg. Yeah,
or
and
like,
tentacles.
so does like on the back end of it too. There's like a few spots. I was like, I could see that being like. Maybe that's like a creature lifting that up, or maybe like there's like a divine beast that was
under the castle.
The castle now it's lifting it up or something.
We know that the Guardians were underneath the castle, and they were actually in these giant totems that shot up. These 4 huge totems that shot up around the castle that are gone now. Also, I think they
Right.
disappear at the end of Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
or go back underground, and maybe that's what prompts Link and Zelda to start exploring underground. So maybe there is like an even bigger creature under there.
Right.
All right, let's go back to the top, and let's really get through what we think is going on, because I got some theories.
Mhm. I got some thoughts too.
I
This is definitely like some kind of writing.
Yeah, this definitely is very evocative of Sheikah,
Yeah.
but I think there's a possibility that it could be something else too. It could be something even older, because we see a lot of the similar architecture here, at least in the kind of spikes and spires coming out. But there's something to this that is less like, I guess, elegant, maybe is the word I'm looking for, or less refined, less
I see.
firmly technological, right?
Yeah, like it seems like almost like magical, but at the same time, it does have the shape of like some of the like thing, like basically it's reminding me of when you get the Sheikah Slate for the first time,
Yeah,
and
the
you have
towers and
those, like,
everything.
yeah, the towers, and you have the things that like drip the water onto the slate to like give it abilities, like the top of the tower where like the green is coming off of, like, looks very much like,
It's similar, yeah, but different enough,
yeah.
It's cool. Like, it makes us feel like going underground is getting us into a part of Hyrule history that maybe we've never uncovered before, and that's like a big. I think that the kind of situation we're getting into is something entirely new.
Right.
The only information also that we've gotten since this is that, like, Aonuma did an interview about the game, and essentially they had so many ideas. The team that made Breath of the Wild had so many ideas after the fact that instead of making more and more DLC, they were just going to make a whole new game, which is rad.
They just made an entire new thing.
So here we see a cave drawing, again, in that same style, sort of Sheikah style, sort of proto-Sheikah style, but of the figure that, it looks like the figure that we're about to see cursed up with a cool trident.
Yeah, because he does have, I'm fairly certain the symbol that's on his back here, and the one that's like you'll see it pretty prominently a couple times once you get close on the character, is the Gerudo symbol.
The two spiral symbols. There.
Yeah, like the two spirals and like the little kind of gem on the bottom and on the top. I'm fairly certain that's the Gerudo symbols for Breath of the Wild.
Cool. That's good to know. I've been replaying Breath of the Wild. I'll have to look out for that.
Yeah, I'm going to start that soon as well.
Yeah, he I don't know, like, he's got a ponytail, obviously, like, to address the elephant in the room. Everyone thinks this is Ganondorf. And I think, that's very possible.
Yeah.
It's weird, we've never really been in the territory where this is very much a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Like, that's never really happened in Zelda games.
Exactly.
Before, like, even Majora's Mask is like its own thing, even if it's the same Link. But like we talked about on the podcast, of like, this is the third instance ever of a Link being in two Zelda games, with Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and now this. It's kind of crazy. And this seems like it's going to be the most direct sequel that we've ever kind of gotten to a Zelda game.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying earlier about, like, now that I'm seeing like a better shots of these cave paintings, I think you may be right about like going to like a slightly more past of Hyrule that we have not seen yet.
A culture that maybe we've never
like,
touched base with before,
Yeah, like basically, before there was a need for, the actual dark beast.
Yeah, giant weapons.
And the calamity coming on. Like, this is maybe what was predecessoring that, because it clearly seems like this character, the quote unquote Ganondorf of this Zelda, like, this is clearly like him going into battle with people.
Yes, and
with, like, his clan or his, like, the Gerudo.
Yeah,
because you can see
Bowman and other horseback riders on the right here. It makes me feel like Ganon or Ganondorf in this context is almost like a conqueror, like an Alexander the Great figure,
right?
Which is really cool.
That could be very interesting if
whether it turns out to be Ganondorf or not, like that character, whoever that is, and I have a feeling that if this is going to be styled like Breath of the Wild, we get a lot of flashback scenes with them. I feel like it.
Yeah.
I have two theories, right? One being that this character is gone within the first 30, 40 minutes of the game, or is like obviously the main villain. I'm leaning more toward the former than the latter, but
Sure.
yeah, we definitely see a lot of writing here. And note that like the kind of green on the outside is a much darker green, and as we get closer and closer, it gets
Yeah,
of a
get
lighter
to the
color.
end. Right.
So my feeling here, just to get into it, is that this guy is Ganondorf, and the calamity Ganon kind of came from him. Maybe he carried
Right.
it within him. Maybe he got the Triforce of Power, wished for infinite power, and it backfired. Monkey's paw situation.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking that he became kind of a vessel for a much greater evil, and
Right.
that evil is what's sealed here, and that evil is what we're unleashing, and it's a new villain that kind of brought into existence Calamity Ganon, like I don't want to say like demise, like a proto Ganon,
Yeah.
where they're basically just the same thing. I'm talking about something to take place as a new villain.
An ancient evil, so to speak.
Yeah, a new ancient evil, more ancient and
Right.
more evil than Ganon or Vati, or kind of some of the similar things we've
Yeah.
seen.
And I could totally see that as well, because this is clearly like again, like the darkness is clearly seeping out of his corpse or
Mhm.
whatever's left, and you see like this hand is like some kind of key to keeping it sealed to an extent. But I could see this being a scenario where like it's just growing weaker and weaker, and
Yes.
that's why all this darkness is now coming out.
Yeah.
Um,
And what
Especially
happened
since
with Calamity
you
Ganon,
look
you
at
know?
original Breath of the Wild and you look at Calamity Ganon, and it is like this, like for the majority of the times you see that it's like this weird dark manifestation like floating around the castle, right?
And
um
and it's called Calamity Ganon, right? It's not just Ganon. It is like something
right.
attached to the brand of Ganon, like
Right.
but also like maybe there's like the calamity as a magic as a whole comes from something outside of Ganon. And while we always thought they were the same thing throughout that game, maybe they are not as intertwined as we thought.
Right.
My also thought on this is that, and spoilers for the end of Breath of the Wild, but honestly, come on. But at the end of that game, when you kill Ganon, they make it very Zelda's like we're like killing Ganon. We are ending the concept of Ganon. And at the
Right.
time, I really liked that, and no one really talked about it, or at least none that I knew. Of like them, I interpreted this as like this is like the new Zelda, and we are ending this character that we've had for 30 years or whatever, and we are kind of sunsetting him with this story. And I love the idea of Breath of the Wild 2 kind of like alley-ooping of like ending Ganon as like a main villain for this franchise, and is setting up a new, total new villain for the franchise. But maybe I'm crazy. And that, to be fair, like maybe that was just how I interpreted the ending of the game, because you can always go back in time. Here we see this cool elephant. Everyone's obsessed with riding this thing.
Or well, I think it's like it looks more like it's like a weird like bison or
Oh
yak
yeah, you're
almost,
right. You're right.
because it has like the horns, and you can kind of make out its face in the back.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I do hope this is something you can like ride,
Yeah.
or it's like like a basically a traveling storage thing, because that's clearly what it looks like. It has like wood on its back and all this other stuff.
Yeah, that'd be
So
cool.
clearly, like, yeah, that'd be cool if you can like store like extra food and whatever stuff once you're actually playing the game
Here we
on
see
this creature.
this rat. And honestly, like the more I'm seeing some of that imagery you're talking about of some of this being out of order, the more I'm thinking
Yeah.
that this is the actual opening scene from the game.
Yeah, me too. Of like, I think this is clearly like them. They have gone underground. Presumably, like we're just kind of presuming because of like the final scene that like this is underneath Hyrule Castle in some regards.
Yeah, they certainly set that up.
Yeah.
And also like that logically makes sense from the end of Breath of the Wild, of like the end of that game, Zelda and Link set out to fix Hyrule. And then that journey kind of coming back to an end, like seems like it's been a little bit, maybe a year or so. Zelda's got a different haircut, looking stylish. Their relationship seems to almost have deepened. And the place where all of this hatred came from was under Hyrule Castle. It was literally they were sitting on top of it the whole time and didn't know.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for after they've maybe gotten the kingdom back together. This is the next step on their journey of hope, maybe assuring themselves that the evil's gone forever. Man, what a shot this is, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good shit.
Great.
Yeah, and like imagine walking into this room and being like, all right, I'm walking directly back out.
And just like from a potential gameplay thing I'm seeing here, which people have pointed out, if you look at Link, you can see now that he has like armor layered on top of him. So if you see, he's wearing his normal tunic.
Yeah.
But he has armor layered on top of it, as well as like the cloak, which you weren't able to do in the base game. So like that'd be pretty cool if like they add more like,
armor slots. Yeah,
like 4 slots to like get multiple pieces of armor on and stuff.
Yeah, he's still got the Master Sword too. Worth pointing out.
He's got his Master Sword,
which I don't know if you put back at the end of Breath of the Wild. No. I don't think you do. Yeah,
I don't think you do. Yeah,
which that kind of makes it like the only Zelda game where you don't, if you think about it.
Exactly, you return it.
It very much. It felt unfinished then. Yeah, it's just it makes sense that this of the games that they would make a direct sequel to, that this was the one, because Breath of the Wild was just overflowing with ideas. Nice little pond down here.
Yeah, and this is, you can definitely see like the lighting.
Yes, and the reflections.
Like, you can see like the torches going off the back, and see there's like the rat again.
Yep. On the stairwells.
On the stairwells.
Is this what? Yeah.
And then you see the darkness like creeping out.
And this is like it being stairs gives me the idea that it's escaping. You know, it's leaving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's like a cool bridge.
Cool bridge that they're like trying to get the ox to come across. Maybe that's when they have to leave the ox behind, because he does not look like he wants to go.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
He's unhappy.
Yeah, I can see that. Like one of them's trying to push it. And I think this shot here is actually where they're looking at those symbols.
Cave paintings.
Yeah, where they were looking at the paintings. You can see like Zelda's like about to say
she looks
something.
Surprised, yeah.
And so like she's probably like giving you like the exposition of like, oh, this is this person from this past, and you know.
Yeah, maybe if anyone would know, it would probably be her who Ganondorf is.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is like the real shot where we see kind of like this seal. Man, it just seems
like a full hand, but then like there's still like darkness going up in between it. So
yeah, and
it almost seems like the darkness is like coming actually like down from whatever that thing is.
Yeah, almost like it's going into Ganon,
like sealing it.
Yeah,
like it's hard to tell for sure.
Yeah, it very much like you get the idea that, or at least I do, that Ganon was a vessel for something far greater than he could contain.
He was probably after, like you said, he was probably after like the Triforce, the third Triforce of power, or like some other thing,
or the Triforce as a whole, you know.
Yeah, and then instead he got consumed by whatever this thing is.
I mean, it makes sense, like there's so many stories that they could tell of like Ganon the Conqueror, Ganondorf, you know, the Gerudo, the king, right, the first male Gerudo born in centuries or whatever. Gathers his soldiers, goes to conquer Hyrule. The ultimate power is the Triforce, tries to find the Triforce, and instead finds something horrific, you know? Because I get the vibe here that maybe Ganondorf is not the bad guy. It very much seems like he is like not the source of the evil, but it is like a vessel for it instead. Yeah,
and then this is another shot where you see the Gerudo symbol there on the gold chain there, and I'm pretty sure that's it as well.
Okay.
Like these symbols that we're seeing. Well, I don't know if that one is. I'm not sure what that one is.
Maybe that's.
But I'm pretty sure that the one on like the gold chain is. I'm fairly certain that's the Gerudo symbol from Breath of the Wild. Then you see this crazy hand.
Yeah, this hand is so weird, man. We've never seen anything like this, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
with this weird armor and.
It's holding his heart, right, or whatever, you know. It's clumping him. It does. The thing about the hand here is it doesn't look good, you know. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't scream that this is an inherently good magic or power. It kind of, and we'll get a shot of it when it grabs Link later. There's like claws to the hand, and the fingers are like unpleasant in a way. He just does not look stoked here, you know?
Yeah, he's clearly...
I don't know what this thing on his forehead glowing is, though. I feel like
that clearly looks like, the Ganondorf like headpiece from
yeah,
Twilight
headdress.
Princess, though.
Yeah.
Like the weird headpiece he has in that game.
Hmm.
It's something along those lines for sure.
Yeah, man, I just love the way this mummy looks. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
cool.
pretty crazy.
So here, a lot of speculation about the hands. It seems like the seal binds to Link's hand, and we get a good shot of it kind of flowing down his arm here.
Yeah,
Which
like it's hard to tell if it's like trapping him or he's like absorbing some kind of power.
yeah, I think those are the two kind of big lines of speculation. Either like this is sealing away Link, in which you're going to be playing as Zelda, which is a lot of what people think, which I think would be cool, and is not off the table. And the other is like, is this some kind of game changing power? We talked about that on IP of like this gives you some kind of magic, and then
Right.
it is a tool to use throughout the game. Because Breath of the Wild doesn't really have traditional magic in it, even for how fantasy it is. That's pretty impressive.
Right. It doesn't have like the magic you've used in previous games.
Yeah, could be like a hook shot type claw, like something to grab you up on ledges.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely see this. I could see it being a thing where like I just don't see Link being completely sealed away in some regards. Like I think this will be like, because it's clearly like I can see here like he doesn't have like, even though we saw the hand thing and it kind of almost looked like a gauntlet in some scenes, because you could see like the weird gold metal plating and like the energy was coming out of, and like the earlier shots where this just seems like he maybe like touched some of the stuff swirling around and now it's like going into him.
It's like pulling into him, yeah.
Yeah, like it's clearly like going into him. So I think it's gonna be like something more along the lines of like he's gonna get some weird power.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Either way,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild with a hook, almost literally. This is very much post breakage of the seal. Whatever Link does.
See, the darkness just like freaking erupt.
Yeah, and it's very scary. It's good, scary imagery.
It's dramatic.
The thing about this is like I think Link is typecasted as a bit of a goober a lot, and he certainly has his goober moments in Breath of the Wild. But I don't see him like ignorantly grabbing at something in the air in this magic horror room.
Right.
I feel like something happens that triggers this. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's Zelda. Maybe Zelda gets herself in harm's way and he jumps in to save her. That seems like the most reasonable.
Sure.
This is that grabbing hand shot. Definitely, I think from earlier when Zelda was falling, because it's definitely her hand coming up.
Yeah, that's her hand. Yeah.
I don't know what this place is.
Yeah, I think that's like just like the thing they went into.
Yeah,
would be my guess, and like I what the guess I would make is like we're seeing this calm, but I think this will be like right after that scene where the rat like gets engulfed, and you just get to see all the darkness freaking explode out of that entrance.
Yeah, and actually looking at it,
my guess.
Looking at it, like this definitely seems like the temple that they would have sealed Ganon in. So you can see the head with the teeth and the horns on the top,
Right, yeah.
and then the hands, which is very reminiscent of beast form Ganon when he goes full pig form, or a different monster, because it does have some kind of different characteristics, like the ear, like almost bat ears at the top, kind of sticking straight up, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
think this could totally just be a thing alluding to like dungeons.
Dungeons also. Yeah, true.
Dungeons proper in
underground dungeons, similar symbolism too. Like if we discover there's a whole underworld to Hyrule, and part of the game is above world and part of the game is going below world to find this ancient civilization even older than the Sheikah. Yeah. Even older than 10,000 years.
That's pretty exciting.
So Link seems to be horizontal in some regard here. He seems to be falling.
Yeah, so he's falling there. And then that hand has definitely taken a different form now.
Yeah, but this looks like how it looked when it was in Ganondorf's chest, like long fingers curled in. And like I said, they don't look good, or at the very least they look old,
Yeah.
And this seems like, so this is his Link's left hand, his sword given hand, not the hand that gets absorbed.
So this is hard to say, like
He looks pretty limp here too. Look at his fingers.
Yeah.
He could be unconscious.
Yeah, like maybe like
It's hard to
it's hard to
say.
say because I could see this being like multiple things, right? I could see that being the scene where I could see that being the scene where
Definitely seems like he's falling off the ledge.
Zelda's falling and he goes to grab her and then
It grabs
he
him.
starts falling and then that hand comes out of nowhere and grabs him.
Yeah.
But I could also see it being a thing of like after where like Link absorbs like the power and then maybe gets like knocked out by that and then this
Maybe the
and
power.
him absorbing that power like unleashes whatever this thing into its like his actual form or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
or maybe that power when he absorb it has like there's a spirit associated with it, kind of like a companion character.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. As you know, maybe some people might not like that, but I could see maybe this weird.
Yeah, thinking inside the
creature
box of things that people kind of missed or didn't like about Breath of the Wild, right? Like having a companion character would be another one of those Zelda tropes that they could kind of incorporate into that game. That
Yeah,
I don't think would be inherently bad, you know.
yeah, I agree. Especially if they make it like an interesting character, because this is like
Yeah, this is weird already.
yeah, it's like this weird arm, and like clearly has been like sealing this evil darkness and Ganon for hundreds of years.
Something like from that culture from thousands of years ago that could give us information that maybe we wouldn't have. This seems like I don't know if this shot will be in the game. Is my thought.
I could see this being like again maybe this clearly the arm has like you can see it now in the shadow like this arm has like a form to it besides it just being this arm like there is like some kind of being
cloaked
tied
maybe
to it.
Yeah,
so I could see this being like after all of this has happened and now this being is explaining to you like what's going on and then like he's like telling you about like oh yeah this we had to seal this person away because they unleashed this thing and
yeah
then you get this shot.
It's the Flash. I don't know. The Flash is so scary, you know. Like I don't know. There's such
and
dark
it's coming
theme
from like
in
the
here.
hand.
Yeah, it is. The hand's certainly lighting up. Yeah, and I think this certainly confirms that the figure is at least what the person we saw on the cave drawings,
Right.
of like this kind of muscular, long-haired figure, who we presume to be.
You can see his hands are like clawish. So maybe like maybe he was being whoever was like being consumed with this darkness and starting to like transform into something worse.
Yeah,
eventually,
I really,
and that's why like the hand like sealed him.
Yeah, I really like playing this story as Ganon was not the bad guy. Like maybe Ganon was the king of Hyrule in this world, and they had to seal him away. That's why he's under the castle, you know.
Yeah, maybe he like went. Yeah, maybe he just kind of like wasn't necessarily bad, but maybe like
maybe he voluntarily took on this evil or corruption, the calamity, into his body to protect the people of Hyrule. You know, there's so much we don't know.
Yeah,
I really want to believe that Ganon is not the villain here, because, or at least there's more to it than that. Here's the falling scene. Man, I guess that must be Ganon's claws. I was thinking that it'd be cool if that was like the claw, the hand that after it had fallen off and lost its color.
That's like Ganon clearly starting to wake up.
So this is them coming in the room, probably. The red ash in the air. I feel like this might be after the seal is broken.
Yeah, I could see that too. Like a bunch of stuff has popped off.
The only concern that this shot gives me, because it's just like, you know, very much the damsel shot, is like, man, if it is really like the full heel turn against what everyone's speculating of, like Link doesn't get sealed away, he gets a superpower, but Zelda gets sealed away and is gone the whole game, that would be a huge bummer.
Yeah,
I think any scenario where Zelda is not accessible or with you or a character throughout this whole game is not playing off on everything they set up in Breath of the Wild. So
yeah, no, I agree. I guess like going into somewhat speculation and our hopes and dreams land, like
please.
I think the thing I would want most personally is both characters to be playable, like be able to be Link or Zelda, and not necessarily have them be sort of like, for a lack of, not to sound like too I like put down and shot, but not necessarily just be character or like character swaps or like skin swaps. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't want to be like, if I'm playing as Link, I want it to feel like I'm playing as Link,
Hmm.
and I'm using like maybe like swords and shields and all the stuff I did in Breath of the Wild. I have all my Sheikah abilities, but if I chose to play as Zelda, she would have her own set of abilities and set of things she can do, like give her like maybe an entirely different set of Sheikah abilities, maybe have her like fight with like magic
Yeah,
or
magic is the
something.
thing I was thinking. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
call
like
out too. And like
yeah,
she would talk. She would
yeah,
she would
yeah.
be a
She
spoken
would talk and
protagonist. That leaves a lot of room for really cool moments too if you do get to play
yeah,
as either of them, or if you get to play as both of them at different points throughout the game.
yeah. Like I'd be totally cool with that too. But I just think like, again, like even though like I wouldn't say it's like the biggest thing they played off in Breath of the Wild, but I feel like just personally to me, like in that game, I feel like that's like the most they've ever really given, or at least kind of tried to give both these characters more
Character.
character. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like even though like Link is still, excuse me, like silent protagonist and whatever, like they still gave him like a backstory. Like
Yeah,
this is the first
he's
time
got a really good story in that game.
yeah, they never, this is the first time I ever acknowledged like he had parents, and he like fought hard and trained hard to like get to where he was.
Yeah.
And like the same with Zelda, like she has like a much more like you learn a lot more about her than you ever had before, and like her like kind of like dealing with like being royalty and being all these things.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they were to go the route where they're both playable, I would like them to in that essence like keep that of like they're distinct characters. When I'm playing as one, it feels like I'm playing as this character, not necessarily like it's just kind of me. I'm either character, but I'm just kind of swinging swords around.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be a little bit weird
And to
me.
be fair, like I think most of Breath of the Wild's gameplay of just like wandering
Yeah,
placates to that of like it doesn't have to be that different, right? But if you
yeah,
could do different things and interact with the world differently, that'd be cool.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think you're with me in that. Like I think where Breath of the Wild maybe didn't have like the most cutscenes of a Zelda game or the most like direct story, I loved what they did with character in that game
Yeah,
a lot, and just I hope they get to pay off on the relationship that they build up between Link and Zelda.
me too.
Here is our big boy now. Clearly, must be post heal. We see the kind of red in the air, which I feel like we didn't when the hand was still in play.
Yeah.
And the very creepy turn in the eyes
It's not
waking
there.
up.
Yeah, get the demon eyes. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, you giving that idea of like there's like this clear this weird presence and still sealed kind of inside his corpse. Like, I
Yeah,
think this gives it like the most levity of like those are clearly some like demonic ass
yeah.
evil eyes.
This dude is
And,
not
like,
good.
yeah, like they're not messing around. Like he clearly like you can even see like he has like fanged teeth and
Yes.
stuff. So I think this is clearly like he was like the Ganondorf equivalent or whoever this Gerudo character was,
Mm-hmm.
and he sought out to see this power, and then he got this power, and then it just started transforming him into this horrible monster,
Yeah.
and then they had to seal him away with that hand, whatever the hand is, like sealed him away.
The hand that feeds you, clearly. Yeah, and I definitely get the vibe of something greater than calamity. Like I feel like you don't kind of just like in like all escalating stories of like what's bigger than this, of like something even more evil than Calamity Ganon. And whether that be the source or the power that Calamity Ganon came from or used, or something even newer than that. But yeah, I don't know what this glowing thing on his head is. I don't know if it's just the
Yeah.
headdress. Or,
I think it might just be like a headpiece thing because I want to say it was glowing before, right?
yeah, but let's
think
go
it was.
back to when they first walk in. It's not glowing here, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's like it's hard to see from that angle, but
Yeah, I feel like it would give off some kind of light in this very dark room, though.
yeah.
Oh, it's glowing lightly, I guess.
Yeah, it's not glowing as much, but yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that might just be like a weird headpiece because Ganondorf like had that weird headpiece looking thing in Twilight Princess.
True. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us.
Yeah, because we got this super mysterious shot, and then
And then
who
nothing.
knows?
And then the sequel to Breath of the Wild is now in development. And I like this last shot too because it's the seal text fading away. It's gone.
Yeah, and you can even see like the blue stuff, going away.
And it's gone. Yeah, it's cool. And it doesn't have a name yet, which is key because I feel like they could have called it The Legend of Zelda, in no given title, but they haven't even said that much too. I know a lot of people were very optimistically thinking it'll be called The Legend of Link, and we'll play as Zelda. While that would be very, very cool, I don't know if they'll go that far with it.
Yeah,
it is curious. Like, what do you call this game?
Yeah. I mean, I think as lame as it would sound, if they just called it Breath of the Wild 2, I'd kind of be okay with it.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it. I would
I could see them giving it like a more proper
Zelda title.
Different, like Legend of Zelda, something else.
I saw Depth of the Wild thrown around because of the depths. I think Blessing Adeoye said that, which is pretty good. I don't know. I'd be fine if they defaulted back to Breath of the Wild 2. I would love to see something kind of more evocative, just because Breath of the Wild is like probably my favorite Zelda title because it is it evokes like a feeling more than any other Zelda title, which are usually just like objects in that world. But yeah, that is Breath of the Wild 2. That is our breakdown. I hope y'all liked it. If you've got theories of your own or hopes and dreams, I would love to hear them in the comments. We'll get in there and say how we feel about them.
Totally. I'm excited to have E3 next year, have another trailer and show that we're all completely wrong.
Yep.
About everything.
Yep. There's so little to go off of, but so much to be excited about.
Yeah, totally.
As I think we ramp up and see more and more of this game, it's just going to get more and more exciting. So, if you like this, check out the other stuff we do, irrationalpassions.com. Subscribe here on YouTube. Other things. Thanks for hanging out, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun.
Bye.